This video is the start of a yearly tradition. End of the year recap of every movies and series that I watch. Choice paralysis is really a thing. Maybe from this, I could help you narrow your search. And it's nothing deep. I'm not going full review mode. Just gonna give you a little bit the sense of what it is and tell you if I enjoy it or not and let you know if I think it's worth your time. Obviously, this is all in my humble opinion, and I watch everything from horror to comedies and everything in between. It just depends of the current mood. And if you didn't watch any of those movies, don't worry, I won't spoil anything. Okay, maybe one or two spoilers, but that's it. And after watching, went to Rotten Tomatoes to see what was the score and if I agreed with it. And by the time you see this video, we will have passed the new year, so I want to welcome you in 2026. I wish you nothing but the best to you and your loved ones. This is everything I watched in 2025. First movie, 28 years later, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm a huge fan of the first one, 28 Days Later. 28 Years Later is a beautifully shot movie. They really did a good job at keeping it authentic. I really felt immersed in the movie like I did in the first one. And also, there wasn't a lot of green screen action. It was filmed outside. The story is about a colony of people living on an island peacefully, but they do have to go back to mainland to get some supplies. So it begins with the father and son relationship, and the dad brings the son to mainland to do his first kill, killing zombies, obviously. But then the dad's an asshole. Switching the focus on the journey of the boy and his sick mom takes her to mainland to see this doctor that supposedly is still alive. The scenes with the infected are really intense. I felt the stress. They did a great job at it. But the gore wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been. These films are known to be truly disgusting. Don't get me wrong, it was disgusting and it was gory. I think that there weren't as much gory scenes as I thought it would have been. I found the movie more scary and disturbing. They did a great job at keeping you at the edge of your seat. The ending of the movie is really divided. You have people that absolutely love it and some people that absolutely hate it. I actually did not get it. There's actually people making videos explaining the ending. So I guess, I'm not that dumb. And one thing that I noticed watching this movie is the nakedness. The zombies are just swinging dicks everywhere. But there's a reason for that. The thought behind it is, it's 28 years later. Zombies don't dress up for the occasion, so their clothes disintegrates over time. So the choice makes absolute sense. But it's all fake and prosthetics nudity because of the kids actors in the movie. Child labor law that they can't be exposed to nudity in movies, which would make sense. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it was a very interesting movie. Rotten Tomato gave it 89. I gave it 75. Now the second movie. Sinners. It's got a rating of 97. Heard so many good things about this movie, I had to watch it. And who doesn't love a good vampire movie? Sinners is the classic survive the night vampire style movie with two brothers opening a club in the 30s in Mississippi. And they get into kerfuffles with the vampires. Listen, it's a beautiful shot movie. The actors are great as well. But it just didn't do it for me. I don't understand the big hype over it. There's some scenes in there that I was like, why is this stretching so long? Why are we seeing this? A lot of it did not make sense to me. Like, some people were saying that it's an instant classic. For me, it could not be further from the truth. I would give it maximum 70%. The next movie I watched, The Naked Gun, 87% on Rotten Tomato. Listen, this is the perfect turn off your brain kind of movie. You don't need to think that much while you're watching this, and sometimes this is just what we need. It's a classic story about a star cop, Frank Drebin, played by Liam Neeson, that needs to stop a super villain that wants to take over the world. Pamela Anderson makes a comeback, and she was good. I mean, she's not the best actress in the world, but she did a good job in that movie. I thought she was funny. But I never thought that Liam Neeson could actually pull this off. I had heard really good reviews, but I was really skeptical, and I was happily surprised. Danny Hudson as the villain does a great job as well. I saw the first Naked Gun back in the days, and this really brought me back. Stupid jokes every 2 seconds, serious, goofy characters, completely unaware of how dumb they are. It did make me laugh out loud a couple of times, and I giggled my way to the end. Light, fun, very stupid. I absolutely loved it. I say it's accurately rated. In 2021, the first one came out, Nobody. And that movie got rated at 83%. 2025 was the release of Nobody 2 and is rated at 76%. The movie is kind of a classic story, kind of almost loser dude living a very simple, quiet family life. But little do we know, he is a trained killer sent by the government when everything else has failed. I absolutely loved the first one. It was a great movie. But the second, not so much. I just felt like they were trying too hard. Came out tacky. They were trying to be funny, but it just didn't do it for me. So all the action takes place in a water park where he's supposed to take time off of work, but of course, trouble always seems to find him. Great action, well-shot movie, the actors are great. You can see that it was a big budget movie. There was a lot of shootings, explosion, all the ingredients were there. But it was so tacky. And the writer of this movie is the same writer that wrote John Wick. John Wick really set the bar high when it comes to action movies now, and it seems that everybody are trying to, I would say, imitate or try to raise the bar as well, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes it may not work, like I think in the second one. And I think it was tacky because there's no mystery anymore. Everything is super predictable because you know who that guy is. And I think that's where it loses all of its appeal. I personally would have given it a 60, the most. Speaking of John Wick, I saw Ballerina, rated at 75%. Listen, I'm a huge John Wick fan. If you've never seen John Wick, there's 4 of them, go watch them all. And then watch Ballerina. I think it was an amazing spin-off to the original story. And Ana de Armas, wasn't sure if it was gonna be believable, but I think she did an amazing job. Because you'd think that because she's a woman, they would have made her stronger, not getting beat up as much. Not at all. She's not a superhero. She gets a hell of a beating. Just like John Wick, you know, he's not invincible. They do end up winning the fight, but it doesn't look that easy. Also, John Wick shows up a couple of times in the movie, which I did not expect, and I thought that was a really nice touch, although that could be a spoiler, so I'm sorry for that. And the tie-in with John Wick's universe works super well. It's not like she's coming out of nowhere and you don't understand who is this character. Rotten Tomato 75, I would crank it up to 85. I thought it was a great movie. Next one is The Gorge, rated 62%. Bro, that movie was something else. I have corny that comes to mind, but shitty. So the movie takes place in 2 towers separated by a gorge. 1 person in each tower, and the mission is really simple. Don't let anything out of it. And they're both retired soldiers that have nothing to lose. I really had high hopes when I saw the preview and when in the first 15 minutes of the movie, I thought this was gonna be great. I love snipers movies, I love adventure and mystery. So these 2 soldiers, the girl is Russian, the guy is American, they're set to be there for 1 year before someone comes and replaces them. Then we see the first monster that tries to get out of the gorge. You know, sometimes they say that it's better if you don't see the monster. It would have been better to apply that rule there. And after 6 months of absolutely nothing happening and flirting back and forth with each other, writing on signs, he decides to finally take action and go meet her. So if you look at the gorge and the distance between the 2 towers, this looks massive. This is the first thing that really turned me off from that movie. He uses a rocket launcher to make sure the hook makes it across so he can make his way to the other side. So far, that makes sense. Then they spend the night together, they dance, they drink, all lovey-dovey stuff. You know, cheesy a little bit, but it's to be expected to have a love story if you have a guy and a girl alone in the woods. But then the guy needs to go back, and now that I'm thinking of it, I didn't even realize, why didn't he take his rope back? Anyway, she takes like almost an air compression gun and she shoots the little hooks with the rope and it makes it on the other side of the gorge. There's a big difference between a bazooka and a little compressed air gun. That kind of did it for me. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And of course, the dude falls in the gorge and she parachutes in the gorge trying to go save him. They discover monsters and mutants. It just took a really odd turn. But I have to admit, the effect of surprise was there because I did not think it was gonna suck that much. This one, I'm not gonna rate it because if I could take back this 2 hours, I most definitely would. Now for the next two movies. Mission Impossible: The Last Reckoning. Part 1 was rated at 96%. Part 2, 80%. Kind of agree with the downgrade a little bit. I almost quit. It's all the reminiscing about the past missions, past characters. I get it, it's the last one, but they could have toned it down a little bit. They stretched it way too long. But how they tied in all the old missions to this one, I think it was really good. I did not expect that. And listen, if you ever watched a Mission Impossible, these movies are everything that you would expect. Loads of actions, and clearly nothing in there is possible. I think the first one is accurately rated, but if I take only the last one for what it is, I would have given it 70%. The last movie I watched, One Battle After the Other, with Leonardo DiCaprio, rated 95%. This movie was really hyped up. And obviously, Leonardo is a great actor and he gives justice to his character, Bob. There's a scene where he's in a tunnel. A soldier throws a tear gas can in there to flush him out. I've been gassed before, and he made it look really, really believable. This guy is such a great actor. They're all great actors in that movie. But for me, Sean Penn completely stole the show. As Colonel Lockjaw, this stiff freak machine of a man. He's like a freaking robot. I just love the way he walked. The movie is divided in two. First, the past, with the French 75 Revolution group doing their thing, you know, just like blowing up stuff and being against the government. And Bob's wife, Perfidia, get entangled with Lockjaw in a weird way. And this is where the baby Willa comes in. But Bob thinks that it's his daughter. But then the mom, Perfidia, does something terrible and she becomes a rat to avoid prison. Throws every member of the French 75 under the bus. Part 2 starts. 16 years later, after the French 75 is long gone, Lockjaw embarks on a journey to find out if Willa is in fact his daughter, but most likely not for the reasons you think. Super well executed, beautiful movie, the actors are amazing, but I didn't think it was that great. Not as much as people say it is. My rating would be 80%. Now let's move on to the series that I watched. The first one is Tokyo Vice. Season 1 is 85% and Season 2 is 94%. It's a slow burn suspense drama yakuza filmed in Japan in English and Japanese. And what I thought was super cool is the American actors all switch perfectly between Japanese and English, as well as the Japanese actors. The story is loosely based on the American journalist Jake Adelstein that worked as a crime reporter in the biggest newspaper in Japan. And as you probably guess, he gets in trouble for being too curious. You got extortion, love circles, you got drama, you got suspense, you got murder. Trust me, if you like gangster, police, drama, suspense, this show is amazing. The next one I watch is called Slow Horses. Listen, there's 5 seasons out and they're all above 94. So it's telling something. You know, that's one of those shows that my friend told me to watch it, and I watched the first episode and I thought it was a little bit boring, a little too slow pace for me. I had nothing else to watch, so I decided to watch a second, a third, a fourth, and at the 5th episode, I was completely hooked. Gary Oldman that even got fat for his role to embody the character as much as he could, and he's doing a great job. The acting in that show is super cool. So it's a spy show, and Slow Horse, it's kind of the reject house. It's people that are spy for MI1, MI15, something like that in London. They do like something stupid in their career, so instead of getting fired, they put them there in case they would need them. It's not glamorous to be in Slow Horses. They're quite good to hook you with the stories. I think it's accurately rated. The next one is called Your Friends and Neighbors. Season 1 is rated at 78%, which I don't really agree with. Businessman, he has everything that he wants. He has a beautiful family, a beautiful wife, all the money in the world, a $250,000 car, big job at the big firm, and then loses everything. You know, the classic success story. Then, before going broke, he becomes a thief. I watched the full first season back to back. I think it took me a week. I thought it was a very good show. I personally rated 92.5. The next show I watched is called Sweet Home. Korean fantasy horror TV show, and the show is about people becoming monsters due to an infection. Not zombies, but monsters. Which is a nice change if you ask me. So it's a classic survive the monster apocalypse for as long as you can, with a twist. There's some people that are able to resist the infection, and they become some sort of half-breed. Some are nice to humans and wants to help rebuild humanity, and some, they're not that nice. It is quite gory and disgusting, so if you're disgusted easily, that might not be the show for you. I would say 85% for all of them. And for the last show I watched, Fallout. Season 1 is rated 93%, and Season 2 being already at 97%, with only 2 episodes out at the moment of this recording. On October 23rd, 2077, a nuclear war ends civilizations as we know it. But then the show takes place in 2296, over 2 centuries after the nuclear blast. They sold a bunch of nuclear bunkers to rich people in case something would happen. Lucy, one of the main characters, loses her dad and decides to leave the comfort of her bunker to go get him. And let's just say that she discovers a brand new world that she was not ready for. It's funny, violent, great acting, it's beautifully shot, post-apocalyptic. What I think it's cool about this series, it's happening 200 years after the boom. People are not trying to accommodate. They have accommodated. This is the reality. It's very, very interesting. I highly recommend it if it's your thing. It's accurately rated for sure. Throw your suggestions in the comments, to give me some inspiration to narrow my field of search. On that note, thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I'll speak to you in the next one.